like cars, whether they're remote control cars or the ones you drive. And to me, that's my creativity, is these cars. It's just like Legos, you know, you watch instructions, but then you could take any Lego piece and connect them together. My name is MAHELA'S, and I drive a Rotary Swapped 240SX. You know, there's people that like cars, they like to drive them, they like to show them off. I really like to put them together and make something unique, you know, make something where if it wasn't for me, it wouldn't be on the road.
How did you get your first job at the hobby store?
You know, you'd buy an RC car, you'd build it and do whatever. And so I would go to the extremes with it, and I bought it to a hobby shop that I wanted to work at. And the guy just goes, "Oh, who built this?" I go, "I did," you know, like I put everything together on the suspension. And he was like, "Yeah, you know, I need you here." That was it. And once you buy one RC car, you just get addicted to the game, and you buy another. There's gas ones, there's helicopters, there's planes, you know. So the cars is what I really liked, and cars can be modified a lot more. So I learned suspension from Jeeps and rock crawlers. You know, they got 4-link suspension, differentials, drive shafts, ball joints. So I was able to learn all this terminology and see, you know, how suspension moves on a car. And you learn it. You see it move on an RC car, and that's what the real car is doing when you're in it.
How did you get that?
It kind of fell on my lap. I was riding my BMX bike in the town right by my high school, and I bump into a guy on his motorcycle. He specifically had a B&W S1000 RR. So long story short, I just said, "Cool bike," and he was like, "Thanks, have a great day," and that was that. But he ends up coming to my hobby shop with one of his own Nitro RC cars. I service his RC car, time goes on. I meet him again for another service, and this time he's like trying to show me this picture of this car on his phone. He's like, "Hey, look, I got this car." And he's not really trying to sell it. He told me to come by, look at the car. He's right by my house too. He's like, "You know where I live." So I check out the car, and he's like, "Cool, you checked it out, right?" I was like, "Yeah, I did." You know, what's the big deal? And he's just like, "You know, I'll hold it down if you want to buy this from me. You know, it seems like you're the right kid." He held it until I made the money. So I worked, and within 5 months or 4 months, I buy the car from him, you know?
What do you think he did that for?
I guess the way I communicated with him, the way I serviced his RC car, you know? So I guess he saw that knowledge from the RC cars, and he was like, "Yeah, I think this kid could, you know, get this 240 running back on the road."
So when did you decide to swap it?
As soon as the second time the motor gave me an issue. First, it was rod knock. Second, it was like valve tap. It had a CA18, which is a 1.8 liter. And it was turboed, it was fully built, HKS cams, top, bottom end, Wiseco pistons. I would have kept that motor if it didn't give me any issues. But David is a Rotary friend of mine, and he just needed a drive to go out to GOOPY Performance, which was the guy who built my engine. It just took one trip to GOOPY that started the Rotary Swap. Tell him my car's down, I want to do something. Before I even finish my sentence, he goes, "Rotary Swap it." You know? As like, I thought he's joking. I laughed at him. I was like, "Okay, yeah, cool, right? Yeah, like, that'll be cool." And he's like, "No, yeah, let's do it." I was like, "Really? How?" He just says, "Bring the car here, do it yourself, and I'll build you the engine." And I knew I had to do it. GOOPY does not build cars, he builds engines and services them. That's just how he just allowed me to work at his shop and put my car together. It was like at least 2-3 days a week where I would drive out from Queens all the way to Haverstraw. It was like I was a zombie, just work. It just had to be a mental state where I had to just focus and get what I had to do done. Everything flowed nicely, you know, no matter what we hit, the roadblocks, if something didn't fit right or if we had to move something forward or back. We did lower the subframe by 1 inch just so the motor and pan could sit where it should be. You know, we only raised the car off the ground, never sat on a lift. So everything under the car we had to do was just laying on your back, you know, scraping yourself under. And I looked at pictures of G35s and they had the same path of where the exhaust runs. So I wanted to keep it coming out my original bumper, which only has one cutout. So the G35 muffler and axle back flowed right through the rear subframe. It was cool just seeing it. You know, I was able to paint everything, sandblast it. The motor was never an engine that was together or in a car, so it was just a Frankenstein engine of what I wanted. GOOPY was like, I have all this, choose what you want. Basically, it's a 13B. It was once a NA, so it's a 6-port turbo 2. It has FD rotors, GOOPY apex seals. I was able to convert the FD upper and lower manifold, which is like the most visually appealing manifolds. Everything was built in-house. I made all the fittings, you know. It was fun experience, hands getting cut up by the steel braided cable. But, and then it gives you confidence as you're working on the car. You're like, dude, I did this, you know, what's next? What else could you do? Yeah.
Can you describe who GOOPY is?
GOOPY is a unique character, you know. He's a very old school engine builder for specifically 13Bs. You know, he was once a car guy just like us. He raced up in, you know, the Bronx, you know, he done all the Rotary run and all the runs that we do now. And at this point, he's just seasoned in. He just tells you straight up on what, you know, if you come to him to get a service done, he's just gonna be straightforward with you. You know, he's also a good mentor where he really emphasizes on like your skill set. So he sees me with the RC stuff and he really tells me how I can push RCs with what I do. He was a good support and also somebody where I had to understand what he says is just gonna be what he says. You know, try not to fight his word. You know, he's old school. We chat, we ate lunch together, you know, it was like a team. It was like it was like working at a shop, you know, you wake up, go to work, and this was just working on your own car in a place where like you've always asked for in some way.
When I drive by here, I'm just like, that's MAHELA'S spot.
Right, yeah, people end up knowing me.
Everybody knows this. I was like,
yeah, I'll be working on cars. I got truck drivers honking at me, and they're like, I see you. And even at work, they're like, hey, I think I see your car's parked up over there. I was like, yep, that's me. Yeah.
When did this become MAHELA'S spot?
Right after the Rotary Swap. I took the motor out right here. I cherry picked it out. I took the trans out. We took it back to GOOPY's because, you know, the pilot bearing was stuck to each other, but it got out. We brought it back, put it back in the car. I'm stubborn in a way, so if I have to do something, I gotta do it the way I gotta do it. And when it comes to my cars, it's like, I'd rather touch my car rather than anybody else. So even if I wanna take it somewhere, you know, I try to keep the expenses low on my end where I can. You gotta tow it somewhere, you know, if you wanna work on it in a good spot. I'd rather just work on it. They're here, and you know, you're outside with the car, there's a bag of tools in the trunk, do it. I lived in Forest Hills, Queens all my life. If you don't live in a house that has a garage or driveway, you park your car on the street, and if it breaks, you fix your car on the street. Like, I'm very simple where I just do what I can, and this just became the spot. You know, I got all my friends now bringing their cars over, hanging out. And even the neighborhood just knows me and they ask. They even try to bring their cars by and ask, hey, I got something wrong with my car, I need some work. So you know how it goes. And now I've honestly just done it for the love of the game. I love cars, you know, I love to wrench. You know, there's people that like cars, they like to drive them, they like to show them off. I really like to put them together and make something unique, you know, make something where if it wasn't for me, it wouldn't be on the road.